Hey everybody, it is Emoni from Emoni Reads and Reviews, and today is the first day of Vlogmas for a lot of YouTubers out here, including myself. So today we are going to be reviewing the first Hallmark Christmas movie, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on my screen, the intro on my screen. But I do want to let you all know that we will be doing our 25 days of Hallmark movies Monday through Friday. And I will be posting every day at 5 p.m. And on the weekends, I may jump in to do a few reading lives or whatnot. Now, don't hold me to it, but you know what? We'll see. We'll see. But I'll go ahead and put this on my screen. If you guys bear with me. All right. Let's go get that full screen going. So today we're going to be reviewing A Holiday in Harlem. So we will be discussing what the movie is about. We're going to do a character analysis. We're going to go into details about the main points of the movie. I'm going to talk about my favorite scenes in the movie and what I really enjoyed. And then we're going to go ahead and do a movie rating. So what is this movie about? So this movie follows a lovely young lady. She's a businesswoman. Her name is JAZMINE, and this movie is based in New York. She loves her job more than she loves her family. So during the holidays, she just got back from a trip and she landed in New York. She was at a business meeting with her, I guess her boss, at a very fancy restaurant when she gets a phone call from her grandmother. And her grandmother didn't know that she was in New York at first, but she kind of had this like word vomit when she just works out that, hey, I'm in New York. And her grandma asks, okay, are you not going to come see me? So she ended up going ahead to go see her grandma. So before she meets up with her grandmother, she knows that her grandparents, her grandmother and like her family aren't going to want to see her in her like business attire. So she stops at this street vendor who is conveniently selling Christmas clothes. So she changes her clothes and then she stops by her old friend's shop where she sees a familiar face, which is Caleb. And in this story, he's pretty much the love interest in this movie. So we see a scene where JAZMINE, she finally arrives with her family, and they are doing a Christmas yoga event where the grandmother, she trips and sprains her ankle. So this leads to JAZMINE making the decision, instead of going to the Caribbean where she was going to go, instead of going to New York to begin with, she decides that she is going to stay with her grandmother so she can plan this Christmas spectacular for the community. So now we're going to do a character analysis. So we have JAZMINE. She's hardworking. She's a fixer. She's a true businesswoman. She feels a bit stressed from her family, the way she grew up. She feels like she has to like always fix everything instead of really catering to herself. And she, we can see that when she's working as well. She's like quick to leave people when she doesn't feel like something's going to work out. She really doesn't know how to work through her problems. She just rather prefers to like leave them. Now we have Mama Belle. She's a really sweet lady who loves her city and she loves her family and she adores her granddaughter. So anytime her granddaughter has an opportunity to really spend time with her, she just really loves that, and she goes ahead and really wants her granddaughter to see another aspect of life, and this kind of reminds her that you can have a life where you can have love and a good job, but you don't have to go full throttle on one and then completely forget the other part. Now we have Caleb. He's a hardworking young man. He loves his family as well. He loves his neighborhood. He's just like Mama Belle. Like they all kind of grew up together, and he was always a part of her life as well. So he loves giving back to his community. He is a really great craftsman, and he does a lot of crafts for his neighborhood. And he's really trying to build himself up as a young entrepreneur as well. He chooses happiness over a lot of career type of things, and he really had a thing for JAZMINE ever since he was a teenager, I guess. So now we're going to be going into details. So Jasmine, the businesswoman, she loves her job more than her family. She buries herself in her job because she feels like it's the best that she can do, and she doesn't know how to deal with her real feelings. So while she was in New York, she meets up with her old boss, and her boss kind of gives her this promotion where she would be, I don't know if y'all ever heard of this, but it's called like a fixer, a corporate fixer. And I don't know what this is, but Hallmark has a way of giving these women these very interesting titles for their jobs, but somehow they're making all this money and they're like businesswomen. They don't have time for nobody. So, anywho, she's offered this huge job, but it's in New York. And because her family's in New York and she's had such a like a tough childhood with her family, she doesn't really want to live in New York, but she's offered this job. So anywho, she gets this phone call from her grandmother and she decides to stay in town. So Mama Belle gets back to the community. Every year, Mama Belle gets back to the community by doing this extravagant holiday bash, and it's thrown in a loop when she sprains her ankle. So Mama Belle comes home, and she pretty much greets everybody in her neighborhood, all throughout the community, and tells them, "Hey, I sprained my ankle. We may not be able to do the Christmas extravaganza this year." So feeling kind of guilt trapped, Jasmine kind of like hurls herself in and say, "Hey, like don't worry about that. I'm definitely here to help you. I'm not going to go to the Caribbean. We can go ahead and have this event happen." So she stays. So Caleb and Jasmine works very well together. Caleb and Jasmine, they work really well together when they agree. But when they don't agree, they tend to hold grudges. This happens because Jasmine has a history of growing up with her parents having issues with health and they ended up divorcing. So she feels that she needs to mend relationships before they turn left. She starts to realize that being around Caleb and her family, that she's truly missing out on the best parts of her life, knowing what she loves and what love can feel like. Caleb and Jasmine works together for the better. So Jasmine realizes she is doing a great job working on the holiday festivities, and everybody's realizing she's doing a great job too. But not all of her decisions are really celebrated because a lot of people are saying, hey, I have another way of looking at this, but she's so like focused on her business perspective. She doesn't really like hear people until like later in the movie. So they had this event where I guess all the chefs had to line up and present their best dish, and based on that dish, Mama Belle, she pretty much chooses the caterer every year. So when she chooses a caterer, there was this incident where this well-known chef, he wasn't picked, and he thought it was just like really unfair. So Jasmine comes up with an idea to allow all the chefs to kind of cook for this event. So my favorite parts of this movie. One of my favorite scenes is when Jasmine and Caleb, the first event that they had for the community, they had this basketball event for the kids, and everybody in the neighborhood loved it. They loved Jasmine's energy. They thought that she was a really good addition to the Christmas extravaganza. So the event with Jasmine and Caleb just had to play. They had to play basketball to show how much they truly admired each other. And Jasmine and complimented Caleb a lot, and they started to really after the event ended, Caleb was just telling her about all these different things about her when she was younger that he really adored about her. And they just kind of went down memory lane, and he just really told her, they started playing basketball at this moment, and he told her like, "Oh wow, you're just as good as you were when you were younger," and this and that and the third. So a little bit before this part, Caleb's sister is Jasmine's best friend. So she pretty much did this spiel to say that Caleb really liked her the entire time. So he actually confesses that during this scene, and I thought that was really sweet. So another part that I really enjoyed about this movie was when Caleb did this beautiful poem, and it was based on his grandfather's pocket watch. And I thought it was a really sweet part of the movie because he kind of compared it to somebody else that he loves, which, obviously we can tell is Jasmine. I really like that Hallmark kind of did this thing that when you watch Tyler Perry movies, you can never see a Tyler Perry movie without some black guy or some black woman either singing like some poetic song or like doing poetry at some poetry like slam. So I thought that was pretty funny and like really good because black people are really into that stuff. So I thought Hallmark did a pretty good job with that, I guess. And after that part of this scene, Jasmine actually ends up seeing her parents together. And this entire time, the parents showed up in the movie at quite a few different times, but apparently they were getting back together. So they had a divorce because um I guess the mother or the father, I forget, but one of them were sick, and because it was so hard on one another, all they did was lash out on each other and made it really difficult for Jasmine to grow up and be a child. So when she found out that they were dating again, she was really confused by it, and she felt hurt because if they would have conveyed that to her when she first saw them in the beginning of the movie, it wouldn't have been so awkward. So the last part of this movie was also my favorite scene. So pretty much Jasmine and Caleb, they go on this very beautiful date, but they still have this speculation because they don't know whether it was a date or just like a friendship outing. So Caleb kind of confesses all this stuff about, he knows what he wants, and what one of the things he wants is her. But because she's so gun-ho about her job and her career, what she's supposed to be, let's be real, um, she she feels the same way he does, but the thing is she doesn't want to give up on her career, and she doesn't want to be hurt. And what I really feel like, based on how she is in this movie, she doesn't really want to be hurt. She's really quick to leave romantic interests or friendships that she knows isn't going to work out. And the Christmas extravaganza, the last day, they had this big celebration. There was like concerts, food, everything was just beautiful. The streets were lit up, everything was just beautiful. And after they had this dinner, they were just really upset for like a day or so. So they came and they worked together. But Caleb wasn't really wanting to talk to her after because he was like, you know what? I don't want to get hurt. So what happens is she has this big news, but she is pulled away from Caleb and to speak to her grandmother. And her grandmother talks to her and says, you have to pick and choose what you want for your life. You can have happiness in the good career, but don't string Caleb along because he's a really good guy. And he really means well, which is true. Also, a side note, in this movie, Jasmine really did support Caleb in his craftsmanship and him opening up his own business doing his woodwork. But because he did not he didn't have the same mindset as Jasmine, and he had the mindset where he felt like, what, this is a small business, a family business. I don't have to go worldwide with my business. But she kind of made him see another light. And towards the end of this event, he actually did apologize for the way they kind of had their adult grudge. And he just realized that, wow, she's actually pretty, smart. And even his sister agreed with him opening up, expanding his business. So that's enough of that side note. So the grandma just really wanted Jasmine to be happy, but not to string Caleb along. So also, before I get to this part, I do want to add that right after this scene where they had the Christmas extravaganza, Jasmine, she's just contemplating a lot of stuff in her life, and then it cuts to another scene where it's Christmas time, and my absolute favorite part of the movie was when the grandmother, Jasmine's mom, and Jasmine, they're cooking macaroni together, baked macaroni. And, that's like pretty huge with like, Black people. That's like, that's our thing. That's what we cook for holidays, right? So I thought that was a really, really great touch and something that Hallmark did really lovely. They really put, people's cultures into their movies. They don't just do like weird things that are kind of stereotypical. They kind of do things like really proper and something that, would you would normally see in any Black American household, I guess. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anywho, Caleb and all of the family comes, and Jasmine and Caleb have this heart to heart where everybody finds out that Jasmine is going to be staying and she's going to take the corporate job in New York. And Caleb was like, "Hey, let me talk to you." And then she was like, "Okay, we can talk after dinner." So they talk, and basically, I already know what happened. They pretty much got together and said, "Okay, let's just make this work," basically. And she gives him a really sweet gift, which is a pocket book, or not a pocketbook, but like a pocket wreath that he really admired from the same thing that his grandfather had that he ended up getting from Jasmine. So the things that I enjoyed about this movie were the outfits, the costumes. The wigs weren't too wiggy, which, in the past, maybe in 2010, Hallmark and Lifetime movies had a tendency of making Black women get on these screens looking absolutely horrendous with these wigs. But the wigs now are a step up. And I've seen several of these Hallmark movies where these Black ladies look good in these wigs. And Jasmine is definitely, she looked very great in all of her outfits and her wigs. So I like that she is a successful businesswoman, yet she can still see when she made errors in this movie. I really like Mama Belle's part in this movie because she was like, she's the oldest generation and she still wants those traditions glued with her family and making sure that her family knows what's really important. And that means, family coming together and doing things with each other. So I love Mama Belle. I love that Jasmine's parents reconciled and they apologized to her. And I really enjoy Hallmark because of those reasons. Most of the times when the parents, they kind of split up, and I watched another movie like this too, but the parents split up, but Hallmark kind of made a way for them to come together and all kind of reconcile and, accept each other for what happened in the past and then also kind of start a new beginning. So I really like that. And I like how they paid attention to detail. Everything was so neat and nice to see in a Hallmark movie. You don't see me doing a Hallmark movie. And I like how it's like an all Black cast. That's pretty cool to see in a Hallmark movie. That's always a plus. And I really like Caleb and Jasmine's characters. They seem very personal, like they could be friends in real life, although there seemed to be some type of I don't know, sometimes with Caleb he'll like do these weird side-eye things like with Jasmine, but all in all I think that they had really great chemistry in the movie. So I'm going to be giving this movie a 10 out of a 10 because this is the first movie I watched and I thought it was really, really good. Again, I loved all the Christmas stuff. I love their costumes. I love the hair. They seem pretty prestigious, which was, great. I like to see that. I love the poem, the poetry slam, and like the macaroni scene and all those different things. So, anywho, I would like to say thank you all for watching this video. This was the first Vlogmas vlog, and I will see you guys on Friday with the second video. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.